Good morning, Arlington. Hope you are all well and staying healthy and staying fit. I'm bringing to you today, this Easter Monday, a nice kind of stretchy flow of Pilates. So we're going to combine the two. We're going to do a bit of stretching with some strong Pilates moves. So I thought that was quite a nice thing to do to start off the week. You've had a few days hopefully relaxing, and so I would like to just continue that relaxing feeling, especially afterwards, not necessarily through the session. So we're going to start by coming down onto the floor in a child's pose position. So this is a child's pose. You can take your stance however you feel. So I like to take quite a wide knee, big toes touching position, and then allow myself to just drop down slowly and relaxing your head and chest down. For now, just releasing the elbows to the floor and just breathing into my lower back and exhaling as you sink down. And some of you may prefer to take your knees a little bit closer, that's also fine. And then just come into like a little ball. If you don't don't particularly like to position your knees and your hips don't work well with it, then just simply come into that cat stretch. Just slowly curling up through the spine and then just releasing with your eye gaze forward. So we do a gentle extension and then a gentle flexion. And if you are in a child's pose, I want you to take your arms and walk over, away from me, taking this back hand, sliding it on top of the front hand and extending your arms as you melt your head and chest down. But I want you to feel like you're gluing this hip back down in towards the heels. So we're just taking a stretch down the rib cage, down the sides of our bodies, another place we tend to store tension. And just breathe and move through it, don't be static. And if you're in a cat stretch, I want you to just take your hands and walk over and reach. It's exactly the same kind of exercise. It's about opening out. So you can do this either way. And just on your next breath, you can begin to release, walking the hands straight over to the other side. So this top hand slides in this arm closest to me and we sink and drop the head and chest down. And you're trying to drive this back hip down as you reach through the rib cage and just melt down as you breathe. Couple of more breaths. And then free your hands. Roll yourself up into a cat stretch. So if you're already there, just do one more. Squeeze your belly in. Tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, and then gently bring yourself back to a neutral spine. So stay in a neutral spine and just wriggle your hips, allowing some give side to side. Take a few breaths there. Just bear with me. And then bring yourself back to neutral position. So we're back in a box position. You're going to take your back leg behind you, drift it up, and your front arm forward. So now here we're in a balance. We take a breath in to reach and lengthen. On the exhale, we're going to gently curl under, elbow reaching towards the knee, chin tucks, tailbone tucks, suck the belly in. And then we inhale to lengthen everything away. We exhale, curl it all under, find your balance. If you feel like you're out of balance, you can simply tuck those toes under and that will give you a little bit more stability. So we're just reaching and curling under in your own time, exhaling, inhaling, lengthening. Exhale, curling. And wherever you are, give me 3 more. And if it feels too much for you on your wrist, you have a dodgy wrist, lose the hand, bring the hands back equally and just work the leg on its own. Okay, that's an alternative. Now, when you've done your third one, reach out and hold. Squeeze and give me some little pulses, pressing through that back buttock, mobilizing the shoulder. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, reach, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release it down. Take a breath, drop down to those elbows. So we're going to tuck the toes under, and we're going to lift ourselves up into a dolphin and stretch through the backs of those calves. So it's like a downward facing dog where you're on your hand, your arms extended, but we're on the elbows. And you really need to lift up through the hips, maybe bend those knees and extend through the spine, squeeze your abs and push the floor away through the arms. And then pedal through the legs, pressing your front leg into extension, bending and swapping to the other side. So we're just going to mobilize the backs of the hamstrings. Breathe. And once you've mobilized those legs, just try and press both heels down into the floor and squeeze the belly to lift out. Take a breath in and slide those feet a little bit further back. We're going to exhale, float the hips down, plank. And then lift those hips back up. Eye gaze to the toes. We inhale, drop forward. Exhale, lift up. Now, this is too much for you. Carry on if you are happy with this particular exercise. Just work mobilizing and waking everything up. If you need to drop it down a level, come down to a half plank. Lift your bottom foot up behind you and then gently drop it down, half plank. Lift your bottom up and then lower down, half plank. That's your alternative. So wherever you are, give me 4 more. And when you've done your last one, you hold a plank. You might want to slide your toes back a little bit. Pause here just for 10 seconds. Take 1 more deep breath. 3, 2, and then 1. Let yourself just drop down to the ground. Bring your hands underneath your forehead. Take a couple of breaths here. Then release your hands. Bring your hands down by your side. Pull your shoulders back and slide your fingertips down towards the fronts of your toes. So now I'm going to pin my feet to the floor. My feet are around shoulder width apart. And this is your starting point. Squeezing the shoulder blades, pushing your fingers away so your shoulders to press away from your ears. We take a breath in, exhale. Lift up, squeeze the arms and raise one leg up. Inhale, lower everything back to the floor. Exhale, swap to the other side. Squeeze up, extend the leg. Inhale, drop down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, drop. So carry on just alternating through the legs. If you want to make it a little bit harder, lift everything together. And as you do, see if you can squeeze the thighs and then release them as you return your nose to the floor. You lift, squeeze, and release. So that's your choice. If you don't want to do 2 legs and your back's feeling a little bit dodgy or a bit vulnerable, please continue to work alternating one leg with the arms. And when you lift those arms, make sure you're really pulling, squeezing and elevating and trying to drive your arms together at that last point. And that's really hard work. So wherever you are, give me 4 more. And when you've done that last one, everybody lower their legs to the floor. Take a breath in at the bottom. Interlace those fingers. And on your next breath, lift up through the chest. Extend those arms. Lift your arms high. And then if you wish, lift those legs and squeeze them together. Pause here. Lift. Breathe. 5, 4. Open those shoulders. 2. And 1, release everything to the floor. Just turn to face me and relax for a few breaths. Roll through those hips. And then slide your hands underneath the shoulders. slowly transition yourself back up into that child's pose. See if you can get your knees a little bit wider this time. And take the arms wide, reaching to the corners of the room. And settle your bottom deep into your heels. Again, if this doesn't work for you, come into a cat stretch. That's also gets into the spine where you need that stretch. And just breathe. Begin to walk your hands in. Bring your toes, your knees together, and then tuck your toes under at the back. So I want you to really fan out through your feet. So your toes are pressed into a strong flexion, and then begin to push your bottom into your heels. Now that might be a deep enough stretch for you in the feet and the toes. If you want to go further, just bring yourself up, hands onto the thighs, and sit deep into those heels. And just take 3 or 4 breaths, relaxing your hands on your thighs and closing your eyes. Try and go that a little bit deeper, perhaps lean back, get deeper into all those muscles that need to stretch out in our feet that just find themselves cramped up the whole time. Bear with it as much as you can. Take 1 more breath if you can. And then gently just release your feet. Either just drop them back and let them settle, give them little taps. It feels quite nice. Good. And then just bring yourself into that neutral position again. So this time the front leg is going to extend back behind and the back arm comes forward. And we pause here and we just stretch. Take a breath in, squeeze up through the abs, tuck those toes under the back if you wish. Exhale, curl it under. Chin to chest, tailbone tucks. Inhale, length. Exhale, curl under. Inhale, length. So just look at this as a squeeze up through the abdomen and then a stretch and elongation through the body. And again, if it's too much for the wrists, bring that hand so you're equaling out the weight and just curl the chin towards the knee and lengthen that leg away. So it just brings it down a notch to a little bit of an easier exercise. So wherever you are, give me 3 more. Breath in to lengthen. Last 2. And when you've done that last one, we stretch everything out again. So lift that arm, lift that leg, squeeze and breathe, abs on, pulse, work that back buttock, mobilize that shoulder. 10, 9, reach, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and release it back down. Good. Bring yourself down to your elbows. Interlace those fingers, tuck those toes back into dolphin again. So before we move, again, mobilize through the hamstrings, pressing down into the heels, feeling that stretch down the calves. And then perhaps do 2 together. Now, you've got the option here to do exactly what you did last time. Slide the toes away, inhale your body weight forward, and exhale, purr it back. Drop to your knees. If you need to do it on your knees, exactly the same thing. Inhale forward, exhale back. Everyone stop at the top and just pause for me. So if you want to make it even harder, lift your back leg up, not too high. And then inhale, we pivot forward, pause, exhale, lift. Inhale, pivot forward, exhale, lift. Give me 5 on that side and then swap it over. 5 on the other side. So inhale forward. As soon as you've done your 5, take it to that front leg. So work with whatever works for you. If you're on your knees, you could still lift that leg and drop down and lift up. So you've still got a little bit more of a challenge if you don't want to be completely off the floor. So again, 5 on each side. Now you should be coming up to your last 5 repetitions now. Keep the breath going. You can stick to just the 2 feet on the floor, remember? There's all these options to do. Now, when you've done that last one, everyone lift the hips up high to the sky. Pressing deep into those arms, squeezing your abs, pushing your heels to the floor. Take one more breath. Everyone float forward and hold a plank. Squeeze deep into the abs. If you wish to slide your toes back, do so. 8, 7, squeeze that belly. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Settle yourself down to the floor again. So this time we're going to take the arms wide to a T, forehead to the ground. Again, the feet are pinned to the floor, shoulder width apart. We take a breath in, we float the upper body off the floor. This is our starting point. Exhale, squeeze the butt, squeeze the abs. We breathe in. On the exhale, squeeze this shoulder blade up and turn to look up to the head. Inhale, float back to center. Exhale, opposite arm, look up and squeeze that shoulder blade. So we're rotating through the waist and then pulling up and squeezing back and then floating back to a neutral spine and then doing the same the other side. We're trying to keep our hands off the floor the whole time. If it feels too much, make your range half the size and then just squeeze up there, center, squeeze up there, center. And try and keep your feet on the floor the whole time. So don't let them float up because they will naturally want to just lift up the ground. You need to really separate upper body from your lower body. Feel the tension pushing down into your legs. And begin to try and rotate that little bit more every time. Give me 2 more each side. Don't let those arms float their way down towards your hips. Try and keep them in line with your shoulders the whole time, so you're always in that T shape. Now, when you've done that last one, you float back into the middle. We lift, we press, and we pulse. 8, 7, 6, 5, squeeze it, lift the chest, 2, and 1, and let your arms slide down. Turn your head away from me and drop your cheek down to the floor. And let your shoulder blades just loosen. Again, you might want to just roll through the hips. And then slide your hands in, bring your forehead to the floor, lift yourself up. Take one more child's pose. This time, I want you to try and get your knees together and then sit down to your heels and then let your hands push into the floor to ground the bottom. And then bring your hands around to catch around back to the heels. Tuck your chin towards your chest, sink your head to the floor, and then really drive yourself into a ball. Or you can take your head a little bit further forward, roll onto top of your head and lift your bottom up. Or you might want to stay here. It's your choice. So if you feel like it might be a little bit too deep for your shoulder blades, then just stay in a little ball. But otherwise, you can lift up and then you'll feel a little bit more into the top of the neck, down those traps, those trapezius muscle that sits on your shoulder blades. And just stay here. So wherever you are, take a couple of more breaths. And then roll yourself up. Free your bottom from your heels. Tuck those toes under. Fan those feet. So we're going to go back into that foot stretch. Now, the second time round, it's a little bit easier. Settle down as best you can. If you want to challenge yourself, you can just lean into your fingers, your hands behind you, and sit deeper. Bring the knees together. You might get an extra thigh stretch from that. Or just lean back and use your core to hold you here. Or stay here, or stay here with a little bit of support. Depends how your feet feel. Close your eyes wherever you are. Take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, just free yourself again. Tap the feet or just sit back into them. Do whatever works for you. And then swing your feet around in front of you and come and sit on your bottom. So you're in this position, your back is beautifully straight. Use your camera to perhaps look at your body posture. So you want to be able to release your arms and your back stays beautifully extended. I'm just going to turn to face you, but you can stay side on. So we inhale to lift up tall. We float the arms up. We keep a soft arm. We're going to curl the spine. So gently tuck your tailbone under. If you feel this gets your lower back, feel free to put a cushion just behind your back to support. We don't want to go too far, about quarter to halfway. We inhale, swing the arm up, look behind, and float it back down. Swap to the other side, look up towards the fingers, sweep it around, and bring it forward. So we inhale, look up, exhale, float, and back to the middle. So we're rotating from the waist. And as you lift the arm up, that then starts to activate your abs, obliques, and your abs are going to control that movement. Inhale, exhale. If you need to, you find there's a bit of tension in the legs, you might prefer to extend your legs completely and do it that way. It's your choice. Some people even prefer to open the knees slightly because they get really tight in those hip flexors. So you find what works for you. Keep the movement going. Keep your spine soft, so you're not creating any tension in the back at all. Give me another 2 each side. And when you've done your last one, bring your arms forward. Pause. Abs should be firing up. Inhale, lift your arms up. Look up towards the fingers. Pause. Now really squeeze those abs. Circle your arms around. Come forward. Lift your legs up to tabletop if you can. Extend up through the spine or extend your legs. 8, 7, 6. Reach. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And bring the soles of the feet together. Create some space between you and your heels and just drop your head and chest. Take a few breaths in. See if you can go that little bit deeper. Allowing your, when you're kind of gripping hold of your feet, allow that little bit more movement to reach forward. Some of you may happily touch your feet from here to nose to heels or nose to toes. Not me, my hips are very tight, they don't particularly like this position. And on your next breath, just roll up. Bring your knees together. I want you to take your hands behind you and turn your fingertips away from you. Bring the heels in towards your bottom and then gently lift your hips up into a reverse tabletop. So we're trying to lift the chest out of the shoulders. The eye gaze is forward or up to the sky. Some people can allow their heads to drop, but it can put a lot of pressure on the neck. So see how you feel. Now squeeze your butt, raise the hips. Pause here. Try not to let yourself sink. Get as much strength as you can. Trying to get those chests pulled out of the shoulders. One more breath. And then gently drop your bottom back down to the floor. Take hold of the fronts of your shins and lift your spine up. So we're back to that. We're going to do back to the arm rotations, but we're going to reverse them this time. So stay where you are. Take a breath in. Float the arms. Scoot back through the spine. Just remember, you go as far as you can. Extend your legs if you need to. So this time, we're inhaling down, exhaling up and around and forward. Inhale, exhale, and forward. So just continue to work gracefully, moving the arms. You're rotating on the spot. You're following that hand movement. Now, as you move your arms, you might find your legs are flipping around, which means you probably lost a little bit of the core stability. So squeeze deep into your lower abs and perhaps even squeeze the thighs together, and that will just help keep less mobility working through the legs. And you'll feel that squeeze as you rotate. And again, making sure that the spine is soft. You're not here and taking the tension in the back, it's relaxed. And you swoop down. Give me another 1 each side. And when you've done that, pause. Inhale, raise the arms up. Pause there as you breathe. And then swoop them all the way over again. Come to here. Now lift your spine and lift your legs to here. And that might be enough for you. If you can, extend. Reach the arms up, lift the spine. 7, 6, lift those thighs. 3, extend the legs. 1, and bring those soles of the feet. This time, you slide them in, you lift up tall, and push those knees down. So use the video just to look at your spine positioning. Get beautiful extension. Push those knees down, open the hips. Breathe. And then bring your elbows forward and allow that give through the spine as you softly melt down. Again, trying to get your head down towards those toes. Open those knees out. If you wish, some people like just rock side to side, mobilizing a little bit more, or fanning the knees like that, just to open and then go deep down and just breathe. The next breath, lift yourself up. And I want you to take your legs out. So, stay on the mat if you can, because we're going to be rolling back and coming forward. So I'm going to start that here. And I just want you to walk forward and just feel a little stretch on the backs of the knees, maybe into your hamstrings, maybe into the inner thighs. And then just go into a little slight bouncing motion just to ease off through the lower back, the sacrum, the hamstrings, the inner thighs. And then roll yourself up, sit tall, bring your arms together and pistol grip your hands. So I'm going to give you two options here. So you can either roll yourself down slowly, take a breath in at the bottom, exhale, roll up, lift up, and reach to the back of that leg. So we're trying to reach the back leg into the hamstrings. Inhale, lift up. Swoop down slowly, slowly, slowly. Inhale at the bottom, exhale, roll up. Lift up and turn and then reach towards this front leg and really stretch into it. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, roll down. Breath in, exhale, roll up. Lift up and lengthen to that back leg again. 5 little bounces. When you've done your 5 bounces, lift up, drop down. Now, if coming all the way down doesn't work for you, and you know you're not going to be able to come back up without using momentum, drop halfway and pause. Take a couple of breaths. And then lift all the way back up, and then do the same to that side. So it's exactly the same. We're trying to mobilize through these hamstrings, through the spine, and then working the abs. You'll get more of a challenge if you keep your arms high. If you want a less of a challenge, take your arms low. Pause here if you're not going all the way back. Take a couple of breaths, then lift up, lengthen, and to that back leg again. So we're going to go one more to the back leg here. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, float down halfway or all the way down to the floor. Take a breath in at the bottom. Exhale, roll it up. And one more to the front leg. 5 little presses. And when you've done that last one, lift up here. Everyone extend up. Roll halfway. Pause. Squeeze the abs. Now, if you can, lift those legs back up. And if you can, extend them. And if you can, open up the legs. Lift up tall. Take those arms high if you can. Or just drop your arms down here for a little bit less pressure. Breathe. Squeeze the legs together. Now reach your fingertips up to those toes. 5, 4, lengthen, 2, and 1. Drop your feet and curve over the legs and take a few breaths in. Whilst you are here, we're going to take it into a bit of a hamstring stretch. Let me just slide myself back a little bit. Pull your toes up towards the sky, slide your hands around the outside of your legs, all over the top, or if you need to inside, but ideally around the edge. Look up, lift and lengthen, and then slide those legs away. Take a breath in, exhale, lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, fold. So just work as far as you can go. So again, if you're tight in your hamstrings, you're better off being up here and perhaps just bending, extending one leg at a time. And wherever you are, just release and roll up. Lean into your hands. This time, turn your fingers facing you. Bend the legs, feet on the ground, and we're going to lift up into that reverse tabletop again. So again, if that's too much for you, you can just lower your level or take your fingers to the side if your wrists are feeling that's a little bit uncomfortable, because that rotation of the shoulders is quite strong. Try and push the chest out of your shoulders, squeeze and breathe. Pull the knees a little bit closer in, 2 more breaths. And then gently, when you're ready, lower your bottom to the floor. Let yourself release. Hug yourself down in towards those knees again. And then I want you to take your legs out wide as you can get them. Sit yourself up tall. Now again, because you're going to be side onto the camera, look at your spine. If your spine's not beautifully extended, get a little pillow or cushion, pop it up underneath your bottom, and that would just allow a little bit more freedom in the hips. So you'll find it a lot more comfortable, especially if you're tight in the inner thighs. So to begin, we just allow our hands to drop down in front, and you're going to keep a soft spine. Try and keep those feet turned up towards the sky. So your feet are parallel. You lower down as far as you can go. Then you take one hand to catch one leg, the other hand to catch the other leg. So you can either take your hands underneath your calves and pause there, or if you can reach your feet, take your feet. We inhale, lift and lengthen up through the spine. We exhale, fold. And continue to breathe out that. Inhale, lift and lengthen, and exhale, fold. Do that 3 or 4 more times. Inhale, exhale. And that last one, so whenever you're ready, and that last exhalation, just go deep into this stretch. Drive your spine into extension and float your head and chest down. And then when you're ready, just bring your hands back, take a little walk up. And because we started with a nice side stretch opening when we're in child's pose, we're going to end with one as well. So I want you to bend this leg, bring this arm inside the leg, then open up this arm so it comes up into a beautiful straight line. Then use this arm that's wedged to lift and lengthen. Take this top arm over the ear, palm facing down, twist, and come into a side bend. We're trying to get this top arm up towards the sky and your eye gaze underneath. So I've taken this leg into extension to get a little bit deeper. You don't have to. You can stay here and just stretch. This is enough for you. So you can go with the leg and turn and reach. Take a few breaths there. Kind of ground down through this hip to the side so you're not lifting the buttock off the floor. Try and extend this elbow so they reach your fingertips towards the foot. Take one more breath. And as you inhale, lift the arm and just let the rest of the body float up. And you come back to face the front. And then you bend this leg. You wedge this arm. You open up this arm to align up. We look up. Inhale, the arm comes up across that ear again, palm facing down. Stay here and just stretch, grounding down through the side here, or go a little bit deeper. And keep twisting and turning and breathing. 3 deep breaths here. Don't let this buttock lift up, so keep pushing that buttock down into the floor. Keep reaching this arm into extension. Keep turning your eye gaze so that top arm is pulling back. And on your next breath, inhale, raise the arm and let the rest of the body float down. Once you hit the top, just bring your hands under the backs of those knees and just bring those legs into a comfortable cross-leg position. If cross-leg position is not comfortable, then just put your legs wherever they feel, extend them out in front of you. And just take a couple of breaths sitting here. Close your eyes, in through the nose and out through the mouth as you feel your spine settling. And then lift those shoulders up towards the ears, squeeze them back. And as you allow your shoulder blades to fall back, bring your arms, float them behind you, sit tall, fingertips on the floor. We breathe in as we raise the arms up. And just bring your hands together, interlace your fingers like this above your head, turn your palms up to the sky, and take a full stretch as we inhale up one more time. And as we exhale, just bring your hands down in front of your chest. Give yourself a bow, give yourself a well-deserved clap. That is your Monday Pilates. So just because it's the holidays, it doesn't mean to say we need to stop doing our exercise. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. It's good for the mind, it's good for the soul, it's good for the body. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to bringing you some other exercises for the rest of the week. Take care, bye-bye.